back to the channel of Probands of Vids, and this is my round 22 NRL tips for 2022. Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting closer and closer to finals footy. Very exciting, obviously, seeing how close and how fast the season's gone. It's been a very quick season, and to think that we're only, another 3 rounds away from finals is pretty crazy, to be honest. But yeah, look, round 22, I'm going to go for this round, obviously, and give my tips for it. A lot of interesting games, actually. A lot of games that are going to be really good to watch. And I think this is one of those other rounds, again, where it's going to be hard to get an 8 out of 8 result this week, because I think so many games are 50-50. So many games are, yeah, it can go either way, and just are tough to tip in general. So I am looking forward to this round. It should be a good one, I hope. But yeah, look, obviously, as always, before I get into the video, 2,194 subscribers away from the goal. Or no, sorry, that's the subscriber count I'm at right now, 2,194, but 6 away from getting to 2,200. So yes, I've been saying it quite a bit in every video that I want to get to 2,200 subscribers. That's obviously been an aim for a long time now, and obviously I haven't got there quite yet, as I would have hoped by now. But yeah, look, obviously it's a process, and it's got to just take my time, I suppose, and wait for it to happen. But yeah, look, just want to say, if you're new watching the channel right now, I'd hope you can consider subscribing to the channel. Obviously, I love doing footy content, NRL content all the time. So, if you feel as though that you're enjoying the content, then I think, this might be the channel for you. But other than that, just enjoy the video, enjoy my tips of round 22, and that's all I can really ask for. But to get into the very first game now, it's a big one. It's at Penrith. It is the Panthers take on the Storm. So Thursday night kicks off with an absolute cracker. It is the Panthers take on the Storm at Bluebet Stadium, 7:50 p.m. On a Thursday. I cannot wait. Obviously, this is going to be a really huge clash. I think both sides are coming off good wins, and especially Penrith, being down with no Luai, no Cleary, but Salmon and O'Sullivan have done the job, and have done a really good job, actually. And those two have proven last week, especially going down to Canberra, which is not an easy trip to go to, that those two have what it takes, and those two can lead Penrith to a victory, possibly. As for Melbourne, Melbourne are obviously slowly finding their best again, but obviously have been too convincing in both wins against Warriors and Titans, but they are finding their best again. And I think with Coates being back and getting a couple of other troops back, it's going to help Melbourne in the long run towards finals. But yeah, getting through both sides. So for Penrith, Matt Eisenhuth will start at prop and play us off suspended James Fisher-Harris. So obviously he's out for 2 weeks, while Viliame Kikau is listed among the reserves as he looks to return from a hip injury, which sidelined him last week. And as for the Storm, they've got a couple of movements in the side. Cooper Johns looks set to have an extended period. No, sorry, reading the wrong thing. Cooper Johns looks set for an extended run in the halves, with Jerome Hughes suffering a partial dislocation in his shoulder last week, which is awful. I would not want to get that type of injury ever. So that means Munster moves back to 5'8", and Nick Meaney returning to fullback, while powerful centre Justin Olam is back from his COVID layoff. So Youngton Mapai goes to reserves. Tom Eisenhuth will start in place of Felice Kafusi, who will miss the game for personal reasons, and Chris Lewis has been added to the bench. So yeah, that's both sides there, the ins and outs. Who am I leaning towards on Thursday? Bit tough. It's actually a tough one to tip, but I'll go Penrith at home. I think Penrith at home are always hard to beat there, and usually they turn up for a good contest. So I'll go Penrith by 6. And my first try scorer is going to be Brian To'o on the wing. And my anytime try scorers are going to be Taylor May, Dylan Edwards, and I'm going to go with Liam Martin on the edge for a try as well. And as for Melbourne, I'm going to go Nofaluma for a try, Xavier Coates, and Munster to score one as well. So I've got Penrith by 6 on Thursday. Alright, on to the first game of 2 on the Friday now. It is the Warriors taking on the Bulldogs at Mount Smart Stadium, obviously in Auckland. And this kicks off at 6 p.m. So another game where it's so 50-50, because I think both sides have, well, look, obviously Warriors, they're very inconsistent, can be good against some teams amongst their level, like around the bottom 4 or outside the top 8. So they usually go right against those sort of sides, but recently they've been pretty awful. As for the Bulldogs, the Dogs have found some good footy, and have playing good footy, and I think that's something that's really positive for them. My only issue with them is that since Ben and Bundaberg on Sunday, it's a short turnaround going to Auckland on the Friday now. So how much that affects their preparation, I'm not sure. But that's a tough one. But we'll see how they go. They're playing good footy. Going through both sides now. So the Warriors have another change at 5'8", which is probably a good one, to be honest. Dajon Asi goes back to 5'8", which I really like because I think Asi's a great player. And I think it's a logical choice of moving Wade Egan back to his preferred position at hooker. So thankfully Warriors did that one. And Freddie Larson goes back to the bench, and Tangela Otokolo drops to reserves. Viliami Vailea comes back in the centres for his first NRL game since breaking his jaw in round 12. So Ewan Aitken goes back to the pack in the place of Bailey Sirinen in the back row. And Josh Curran is a new lock this week, replacing Aaron Peno, who's out with a leg injury. As for the Dogs, Tavita Pangai Jr. is out, so Raymond Fatah-Mariner will start at lock, as he did last week. Rookie Harrison Edwards joins the interchange after serving as the Bulldogs replacement player in round 21. So, yeah, there's the changes there for both sides. But who am I going to go with? Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm really thinking about who right now who I should go with. But I'll tell you what, I've got the Warriors here at home. I think the Warriors will actually get the Dogs here because Warriors actually turn up in New Zealand. They play good footy there. And as for the Bulldogs, I just think that the short turnaround of them going to being in Bundaberg on the Sunday, going to Auckland on Friday, that's going to probably affect their preparation quite a bit, in my opinion. So I think the Warriors at home are a good chance, and they always play well there. So I'm going to go the Warriors here by 8 points. And I'm going to go for first try scorer, Edward Kosi in the wing. I think Kosi's been on a bit of a roll scoring tries recently, so I'll back him. And my other anytime try scorers are going to be Walsh, Zlesniak, and Arcee. And as for the Dogs, the anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Karaz in the wing, and I'm going to go with the Fox in the wing as well. So, again, Warriors by 8. On to the main game on the Friday now. It is the Eels taking on the Rabbitohs at CommBank Stadium on the Friday CommBank Stadium, 7:55 p.m. A very big game. This is actually massive. I don't know where... Look, it's going to be hard to know where the game will be won because I think both sides are pretty well matched up throughout across the park. But, yeah, I think last time Souths had a good win over them, and Souths obviously have a good track record over Parramatta as well. So I guess you can sort of lean towards Souths in that case. If anything, you're going to go off by who has a better chance. But, obviously Parramatta dominated Manly last week, so they're a chance as well this week. But look, going through both sides now, Eels have just one change from their side actually from last week's win. Ofeki Ogden sets to play his first NRL game this year, the former Bulldogs prop, which is good to see. So he'll replace Makahesi Makatoa off the bench. And Rabbitohs, their changes to their side. Harmasele returns from a hamstring injury in the front row, pushing Daniel Sluka for feeder to reserves. And Thomas Burgess has served his one-game suspension, but has not been named. Campbell Graham is still sidelined by the cheekbone injury, which has kept him out since round 16. So, look, like I said, both sides are pretty much evenly matched up across the park. But who am I going to go with? It's tough, but I'm going to back Para here. I'll back Para here by 10. I think back at home and after being Manly, at Brookie, which is not an easy thing to do. I think just that confidence will probably go into the side for this week, and I think Jake Arthur's obviously going to try and pick up his game again. And obviously, I may have shit on him last week, but he definitely had a good game. And I think his confidence around the boys will help Parramatta. So I'll go Para by 10, and my first try scorer is going to be Wagga Bloke in the wing, as well as my anytime try scorers being Pinasini, Gutho, and Papali'i. And as for South Sydney, Latrell will score any time, Johnson will score any time, and I think Keon will get one in the back row too. So Para by 10. Alright, we now move on to Super Saturday. It is the first game of 3, obviously, as always, and it's the Roosters take on the Cowboys at the SCG. So this is the first time the Cowboys are playing at the SCG in their club history, so that's pretty exciting for them. And as for the Roosters, obviously Roosters are no strangers to playing at the SCG, have a great record there. So this shapes up to be a very good game as Cowboys looking to cement their place in the top 4 furthermore. And as for the Roosters, want to try and get as many wins as possible to help their case in making the 8 still. Getting through both sides though, the Roosters have Sam Verrills back on deck this week. He will has been named the hooker, but will need to pass HIA protocols in order to be able to play. Egan Butcher returns after serving a one-game span, replacing Ben Thomas on the bench. Lindsay Collins concussion and Silasio Takao cheekbone remains sidelined. As for the Cowboys, after suffering a hamstring injury which denied him a place in the Origin decider, John McLean's back for the Cowboys on the bench, which is good for them. And Kyle Felt remains sidelined with his own hamstring issue. And Ruben Cotter comes into the starting side with Jermaine Tanua-Brown going back to the bench. So, interesting ins and outs there for both Roosters and Cowboys. Who am I leaning with for this one? Tough. It's very tough. I'm not going to underestimate the Cowboys in Sydney because obviously they've look, everyone's saying that the Cowboys can't win in Sydney, but they've already proved that they can. And you know, look, in general, it's a very tough contest. This one, and it's very hard to pick. But I think if the weather is accurate and the sources of how Saturday is looking, it's going to be wet, it's going to be stormy, and it's going to be a very slippery patch. So I'm going to go with the Roosters here because of that, but I would not be surprised if I was wrong though. But Roosters at home, Roosters are desperate to lock in a top 8 spot, and Tedesco, Keary are finding their best at the moment. So I'll go Roosters here by 6 points. And my first try scorer is going to be Tedesco too. And my anytime try scorer is going to be Manu, Sawali, and probably Nat Butcher, since he's been actually on a bit of a run with scoring tries recently. And as for the Cowboys, I'm going to go Hammer on the wing and Val Holmes. And bit of a roughie, I'll go Tom Gilbert on the edge for a try. Tom Gilbert for the Cowboys on the edge. But until then, Roosters by 6. On to the very next game of the Saturday now. It is the Tigers taking on the Sharks at Scully Park in Tamworth. So exciting to see a game being back at play in Tamworth because I think it's been a little while since we had a game in Tamworth. So yeah, it should be good. But you know, Tigers obviously been in really disappointing form. Have had the season from hell basically, and not much is getting better for them. There should have been Newcastle at Campbelltown on Sunday, but obviously failed to do so, which is embarrassing and really disappointing. As for the Sharks, they're flying. They are flying. They are looking more towards cementing a spot in the top 4, and they've got a perfect opportunity to do that this Saturday. Going through both sides, the Tigers have a couple of changes with Kemba Marlowe sidelined by a suspected PCL injury. So that means Starford Toa shifts to the wing, and James Roberts comes in at centre for his 6th appearance this year. And Zane Musgrove has earned a start in the front row, which I think is well deserved. Which means Jonathan Hangao shifts to prop to lock, from prop to lock, and impressive rookie Fanua Pole reverts to the interchange. There's no room for Luke Garn at this stage, with the returning back rower named as the replacement player. So that's their changes there. As for the Sharks, Lockie Miller will play on the wing in place of Connor Tracy, who will be rested after he had that nasty head knock last Saturday by Tarek Sims, the Dragons forward, obviously. So yeah, that means Miller's playing the wing. Playmaker Matt Welland remains sidelined with a quad injury, so Braden Trindle again fills the 5'8" role. Dale Finucane is back from suspension, so Cameron McInnes reverts to the bench. Prop Royce Hunt is listed among the reserves as he needs a return from a shoulder injury. Look, my tip for this game, pretty simple. I think the Sharks will win and win well. I've got the Sharks here by 16 points, and I'm going to go for first try scorer Ronaldo Mulatalo because there's never a game anymore where he doesn't score a try. So I'll back Ronaldo for a try, and also my anytime try scorer is going to be Talakai, Lockie Miller, and I think Kay Dykes will score his first NRL try. And as for the Tigers, I think Asu Kepawa will get one after re-signing with the club this week. Will be a bit of a boost. And I think for Amanu Brown will get a try from dummy half too. He's been on a good roll recently with scoring tries from dummy half. So, yeah, but Sharks by 16. And on to the last game of Super Saturday is the Broncos taking on the Knights. And this is at Suncorp Stadium, another Channel 9 game. As for now on, in case you didn't know, that for the remaining regular rounds of the year, the 7:30 fixture on the Super Saturday will be broadcasted to Channel 9 as well as Fox. So get some footy on 9 on Saturday. So that's good for those viewers who have always watched 9. But yeah, look, getting through both sides. The Broncos have a couple of changes after their loss to the Roosters. And yeah, well, I mean, very disappointing loss there. I expected better from the Broncos, but after making a successful return from a rib injury for Wynnum Manly, which is the Broncos reserve grade side, Team Murray Martin is back at the fullback jersey, which I think is what had to happen because Tessie New was obviously a bit off that game against the the Roosters, and Bronco Lee has been recalled into the centres in the expense of Dean Mariner. In the pack, Billy Walters has been named the hooker with Jake Turpin on the bench. And as for Knights, getting a good win over the Tigers and a very tough one too. I wouldn't say good win, I'll retract that, but it was a solid win that had to happen. But, looking at Knights' team, Adam Clune is back in the halfback jersey in place of Jake Clifford, while four-pack leader David Clemmer also returns to the side after missing in round 21 for disciplinary reasons, and I think we all know why. And Mitch Barnett is out, replaced at lock by Matt Croker, and prop Jacob Saifi left the field in the closing minutes against the Tigers after suffering a head knock, but has been named. And Edric Lee has been named among the reserves as he looks to return from a foot injury, but still no sign of Kurt Mann from a quad. Pretty simple. Going to go the Broncos here by 12 points. I expect them to bounce back, only by 1 to 12 though. And I think first try score is going to be Selwyn Cobbo on the wing. Been a little while since Cobbo scored a try, but I think he'll score one this weekend. And Cobbo first try. Anytime try scorers, Mann will get one, Stags and Oates. And for the Knights, I think Twala and Gagai will score one as well. Right, moving on to Sunday footy now, the first game of two. It is the Raiders taking on the Dragons at GIO Stadium there in Canberra. Look, both sides are still within a chance of making finals. I mean, even though Dragons are more unlikely to make it than the Raiders. But, both sides mathematically are a chance, and it comes down as a big game for both sides, obviously, because Raiders obviously want to win as many games as they can to make the 8. And as for the Dragons also want to try and win as many pretty much have to win all their games the rest of the season and want to make the 8, which is a tough ask for them, but it can happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Anything's possible these days. But look, Raiders good win against the loss. I mean, I'm all over the place now. Lost to the Panthers 26-6, so it's a bad loss actually. And as for the Dragons, they had a loss as well to the Sharks, 24 points to 18. But we're competitive. Getting through both sides, the Raiders have Joseph Tarpany out with a rib injury, so Emre Guler taking his place in the starting front row, and Corey Horsburgh joining the interchange for the first time in a long time, and Xavier Savage is back at fullback, which means Albert Hopewadi, who played there last week, shifts the wing in the places of the suspended Nick Kotrick. And then for the Dragons now, Tarek Sims banned for a careless high tackle sees Josh Maguire move from the starting side, and Tyro Fulmer-Arno joins the bench for his first game since round 12, and Billy Burns also joins the bench, and Michael Molo has been promoted to the starting side with his brother Francis dropping out. And fullback Cody Ramsey is listed among the reserves as he looks to return from a knee injury, so some interesting changes there for the Dragons. But yeah, look, I think it's a tough one to tip. I really do think so. I mean, no Ricky for the Raiders too this week as their coach, which is a bit of a blow. But other than that, I think I'll still tip the Raiders. I think Raiders at home are still, for me, competitive and can do well enough to win. So I think Canberra will be a little bit too good at home, and I expect Raiders to win by about 4 points. And my anytime try scores, or first one I should say, a bit of a roughie, but I'm going to go with Albert Hopewadi for the first try on the corner. I think Hopper will get a try there, and he'll score first in my opinion. And my anytime try score is going to be Sebastian Kris, Xavier Savage, and Hudson Young. And for the Dragons, I'm going to go with Figai on the wing. I'm also going to go with Zach Lomax for a try. It's been a little while. And, I think Raiders will win. And on to the very last game of round 22. It is the Manly side taking on the Titans at the home ground of the Titans, obviously at CBA Super Stadium. So at 4 or 5 p.m. on unexpected, hopefully, sunny Gold Coast. And, it comes down to another crucial game for Manly. Look, even though as a Manly fan, I believe our season's over, we're mathematically a chance as well of making the 8 still. So I guess if they're still committed to putting in some good performances for the rest of the year and trying to go for the 8, then hopefully that displays on Sunday against Gold Coast. But, look, as for the Titans now, Titans have been awful. They've been really bad. Obviously against Storm, they weren't bad at patches, but got defeated because they weren't good enough in their defence. So Titans have been awful. They've been really, really bad. But looking at both sides now, the Titans have Aaron Clark returning to hooker as a season-ending injury for the Aaron Booth as he injured a knee against the Storm last week, which is very sad to see. That's what's happening there. Clark goes to hooker, Aaron Clark, and Isaac Liu moves to the starting lock. And Tanner Boyd remains a halfback with Toby Sexton named in reserves after being rested last week. And Patrick Herbert returns from an injury on the wing, so Greg Marzio goes to the bench. And as for Manly, Taufa Sipley has been named that propped with Tangela Paseka sidelined by a knee injury, which means Josh Aloiai also returns this week from a knee injury on the bench, and Sean Kepi's shoulder is still out. And 5'8" Kieran Foran is set to play despite a hamstring injury, but I guess the captain's run will determine whether he is fit enough. If not, Josh Schuster will come in. But my tip for this game, I'll back Manly. We should win. I'm pretty confident that we can win this one. I know that we often don't play for 80 minutes and we've struggled to, I guess, compete sometimes with other sides, but I think with the way the Titans are going, we should be okay. But look, I'm not going to underestimate Gold Coast either, but I'll go Manly to win. I think Manly will win by 14 points. And my first try scorer. My first try scorer is going to be a very different one. It's not one not many are going to expect. It's going to be a very interesting one. And I'm actually going to go with Lachlan Croker for dummy half. I think Lachlan Croker was for the first try for Manly for dummy half. I could just see it for some reason. So I got Croker for first try. But my anytime try scorer is going to be Ola Kawatu, Tuipulotu, and Garrick. And as for the Titans, I've got Jojo Fafita, one wing scoring try, and on the other wing, Herbert will score as well as both Fermor getting a try. But everyone, that's my round 22 tips for the NRL for 2022. Thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment all tips in the comment section down below. But until then, good luck to all your sides, and thanks for watching.